Welcome, everyone. You've tuned into our fun little study group for PP 5340, Introduction to Public Policy and Management.
That's right.
And today, we're doing a really interesting deep dive. We're looking at the readings from Section O2, Integrating AI in Government.
Yeah, a topic that's, well, everywhere right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence, it's reshaping just about everything, industries, how we work, our daily lives. But the big question we're tackling is, what does this huge technological shift really mean for, the machinery of government?
And it's not just about getting some shiny new toys, some cool tech.
Not at all. It's way deeper. It's about maybe fundamentally rethinking what public value even means.
Right. And how you maintain or even build citizen trust in this new era.
And you could argue it even touches on safeguarding the future of democratic governance itself. It's that big.
It really is.
At its core, there's this fascinating tension we're navigating here. On one hand, AI offers these incredible opportunities.
Huge potential, yeah.
To make government services better, more efficient, faster, maybe even more equitable.
But then there's the other side of the coin.
Exactly. It brings significant risks, really profound challenges that we absolutely need to pay careful attention to.
We need considered action, not just reaction.
It's like that classic double-edged sword, isn't it? And understanding both edges, the good and the bad, is just crucial.
Absolutely. You can't just focus on the potential benefits.
So for this deep dive, we've got two really insightful sources lined up. First up, we'll be digging into a systematic literature review by Zuiderwijk, Chen, and Salem. It's from Government Information Quarterly.
Quite a title on that one.
Yeah, it is. It's Implications of the Use of Artificial Intelligence in Public Governance, a systematic literature review, and a research agenda. Let's just call it the Zuiderwijk et al. Paper to keep it simple.
Good plan.
Okay, then after that, we'll pivot. We're looking at an equally compelling empirical study. This one's by Michael Chen and Chen.
Also, in Government Information Quarterly, they publish a lot of great stuff in this area.
They really do. This one's called Digital Transformation Toward AI-Augmented Public Administration: The Perception of Government Employees and the Willingness to Use AI in Government.
Or we'll call that one.
Let's just call it the Chen study as we talk about.
Perfect. And what's really interesting, I think, is that these two papers, they were published just a year apart, right?
Yeah, but close together.
And they just complement each other so well. It's almost like they were designed to be read together.
How so?
Well, the Zuiderwijk et al. Paper, it gives you that really broad, high-level view, like a map of the whole landscape of AI in public governance.
Okay, the big picture.
Exactly. Opportunities, risks, and maybe most importantly, where the big gaps in our understanding still are. It's very systematic.
Right.
Then the Chen study, it zooms right in, brings us down to the ground level.
And the people involved.
Precisely. It focuses on that absolutely critical human element.
Yeah.
How do the actual government employees, the people on the front lines who will be using these tools, how do they perceive this stuff? Are they willing to adopt it?
Okay. So macro and micro perspectives.
You got it. It's a really powerful combination.
So our mission today, really, is to carefully pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from both of these sources.
Yeah, the key takeaways.
We want to help you understand not just what AI might mean for government operations, but why all these implications are so vital for citizens, for public servants, for the whole future direction of public service.
It's about getting beyond just the headlines, isn't it? Understanding the real depth of this potential transformation.
Definitely. All right, let's start unpacking this. We'll begin with the Zuiderwijk paper.
Okay.
And they kick things off, very sensible, I think, by laying down some clear definitions for two key terms: artificial intelligence and public governance.
Which is so important.
Yeah, I think we absolutely need to get these straight before we dive any deeper. Because, AI isn't just one thing, right?
Not at all.
And governance, as they use it, seems broader than just government.
Absolutely spot on. Clarifying these terms is just fundamental, especially because people throw them around pretty loosely sometimes in, general conversation.
True.
So when Zuiderwijk et al. Define AI, they're careful to say it's not just about the, futuristic robots you see in movies.
Right, not just Terminators and stuff.
Exactly. Though maybe that's part of the long-term vision for some. But practically speaking, they define AI systems as those that display intelligent behavior.
Okay, intelligent behavior.
By analyzing their environments and then taking autonomous actions to achieve specific goals that they've been set.
So they sense, think, and act basically.
In a way, yes. At the core, it's about systems that can learn from data, make plans, predict things, exert control, all driven by complex algorithms and models. And the range of actual examples they give really shows how broad this is. It's not just one technology.
So what kind of examples are we talking about?
Well, foundational stuff like machine learning, where systems learn patterns from data without being explicitly programmed for every single rule.
Right.
And neural networks, which are kind of inspired by the human brain structure, good for pattern recognition.
Okay.
Then you've got natural language processing, or NLP. That's what lets machines understand and generate human language. Think chatbots, virtual assistants.
Siri, Alexa, that kind of thing.
Exactly, but also more complex stuff like analyzing text for sentiment. Beyond that, there are multi-agent systems where you have multiple AI entities interacting.
Okay.
And cyber-physical systems, that's a big category where computation meets the physical world.
Like what?
Everything from the Internet of Things, IoT, connected devices, to advanced robotics, computer vision for surveillance or recognizing objects, controversial stuff like facial recognition, and even autonomous vehicles.
Wow. Okay. So it really is a huge umbrella term.
It's a vast and rapidly expanding field, much more diverse than just, say, a single piece of software.
All right. And what are the other term? Public governance.
Right, public governance.
Yeah.
Here, the authors use a really inclusive definition. It's not just about what government departments do.
Right.
They describe it as all the rules and actions related to public policy and services. Much broader.
So who's involved then?
Well, it acknowledges this whole ecosystem of actors, individual citizens, obviously, but also organizations in the public sector, private companies, nonprofits.
So pretty much everyone who has a stake in public outcomes.
Essentially, yes. And the point of all this, the purpose, is collective decision-making, making decisions together.
Okay.
But these decisions are constrained, they're prescribed, they're enabled by laws, rules, norms, practices, all aimed, ultimately, at achieving the public good.
The public good. That sounds key.
It's the fundamental goal. It's about the whole societal fabric working towards that public-facing mission under a set of established rules.
That's a really clear foundation. Thanks. Now, here's something that jumped out at me straight away from the Zuiderwijk et al. Paper.
Okay.
They note that despite all this amazing potential you just described, streamlining things, improving services, AI adoption in the public sector has actually been slower than in the private sector.
Yeah, it's a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
It really is. You'd think governments, always needing efficiency, would be all over this. So why? Why the lag? What's so different about the public sector context?
That's exactly the puzzle the paper digs into, and it's a really critical distinction to grasp. The authors argue, quite convincingly, that the public sector's main goal is fundamentally different.
How so?
It's about maximizing public value. That's not the same as maximizing profit or market share or shareholder returns like in the private sector. It's a different bottom line, if you will.
Okay, public value versus profit.
Exactly. And because the goal is different, the strategies that work for private companies adopting AI often focus purely on efficiency or cost-cutting just can't be directly copied and pasted into government.
You need to adapt them.
Heavily. Governments operate under a whole unique set of constraints and, importantly, public expectations.
Like what?
Well, for starters, there's a huge demand for transparency. Often, it's legally required. Citizens expect and have a right to understand how government makes decisions, allocates money, delivers services.
Right, you can't just have secret algorithm deciding things.
Precisely. Then think about the diverse stakeholders governments serve. It's everybody. Citizens from all backgrounds, businesses big and small, NGOs, other agencies, often with competing interests.
Yeah, balancing all that must be tough.
Incredibly complex. And maybe the biggest factor is the constant public scrutiny and oversight. Governments are always under the microscope. Any mistake, any perceived unfairness with an AI system can have massive lasting damage to public trust. And for government, public trust is everything. It's a far more critical asset than it is for a typical company.
So the stakes are just much higher.
Much higher. This naturally leads to a more cautious approach, more emphasis on risk assessment, ethical checks, public consultation, all of which slows down the adoption process compared to a company that can just decide to roll something out.
It's not just about building the tech, it's building the trust around the tech.
You nailed it. That's the core challenge.
Okay, so if the environment is that complex with these unique public sector dynamics, what does that mean for the researchers trying to study this, and for the policymakers trying to make sense of it all.
Yeah.
Because the Zuiderwijk paper really seems to flag some pretty big knowledge gaps, doesn't it? Like the research maybe hasn't quite kept pace with the tech itself.
That's a central point they make, yeah. The research landscape for AI, specifically in public governance, is still, well, very young. They even call it its AI spring.
Still budding then.
Definitely. And they identify several key limitations. First, there's just not much research focusing on the AI challenges that are unique to the public sector.
So we can't just borrow findings from business studies.
Not directly, no. Public problems often need specific public sector solutions and analysis. Second, our understanding of the really wide-ranging implications for public governance is still pretty limited.
Like how it changes everything from service delivery to policy making.
Exactly. How does it really transform regulation, coordination between agencies, citizen interaction? We're still figuring that out.
Okay.
And here's a worrying bit. They observe that actual thought leadership in governance and AI seems to be shrinking, or at least not keeping pace, compared to how fast AI is spreading globally.
So the tech is outpacing our thinking about how to manage it.
That's the concern. The conceptual frameworks, the ethical guidelines, the practical how-to guides, they're lagging behind the technology's capabilities. And a lot of the AI research that does exist, they point out, is super technical, comes out of computer science departments.
Right, focused on the algorithms themselves.
Yeah, and often lacking that crucial focus on the governance side, the policy implications, the regulatory questions that are vital for public administration. This leaves policymakers in a tough spot.
Trying to make decisions without a solid evidence base.
Pretty much. Plus, they found there's no real consensus yet on how governments should handle these challenges.
And the small number of studies backs that up.
Dramatically. Their systematic review only found 26 relevant articles published between 2010 and 2020.
26? In a decade. For something this big.
Astonishingly few, isn't it? And even those, they found, were mostly exploratory, qualitative.
Not much hard data or testing theories.
Very little. They called them under-theorized. Only 4 even mentioned the theoretical framework, and none actually tested one empirically. It really shows a field where the basic understanding is still being built.
Wow.
Which leads to that critical question they pose. If the researchers are still in this AI spring, how can governments, which often move slower anyway, be expected to integrate these incredibly powerful tools effectively and ethically?
When the knowledge base is still so thin, yeah, that's a real problem.
It's a classic chicken and egg situation, but with potentially huge real-world consequences for all of us.
That really does paint a stark picture. We're moving fast with the tech, but maybe without the map we need. Okay, let's pivot then to what the Zuiderwijk paper identifies as the real, the meat of it all.
Right.
The potential benefits, which sound amazing, but also those equally significant challenges of actually using AI in government.
Yeah, this is where they lay out the pros and cons in detail.
And it seems like a really wide range, from simple task automation up to stuff that affects democracy itself.
Absolutely. They provide a really thorough overview of both sides, and you can see why governments are so interested when you look at the potential benefits.
So what are some of the big ones?
Okay, first off, massive potential for efficiency and performance gains.
The obvious one, maybe.
Yeah, but it's huge. Automating those mundane, repetitive admin tasks, think processing applications, permits, claims.
Freeing up human staff for other things.
Exactly. For the more complex work, the stuff that needs empathy, judgment, this can improve e-government services, speed things up, reduce errors. Big wins there.
Okay, what else?
Second, risk identification and monitoring. AI can be incredibly good at spotting patterns humans might miss.
Like finding fraud.
Definitely. Analyzing huge transaction data sets for anomalies. But also improving law enforcement, maybe identifying crime hotspots or monitoring urban areas, like analyzing traffic flow or spotting infrastructure problems early.
Interesting.
Third, it's power in data and information processing. AI can chew through massive, complex data sets in real time, way beyond human capacity.
And find new insights.
Yeah, generate new knowledge, power predictive analytics. Imagine forecasting disease outbreaks using real-time health data or simulating the impact of different policy choices before you implement them.
That sounds incredibly useful for policymakers.
Potentially game-changing. Fourth, big improvements in service delivery. Making public services more targeted, more accessible, more personalized. Think AI chatbots giving instant answers, 247 in multiple languages.
All right, less waiting on hold.
Hopefully. Or even proactive services, AI identifying citizens eligible for benefits and reaching out to them instead of waiting for them to apply.
Wow, that would be a shift.
Fifth, decision-making support. Machine learning can help government leaders sift through evidence, highlight priorities, even suggest optimal courses of action.
So not replacing human decision makers, but assisting them.
That's the idea. Leading to potentially more accurate evidence-based decisions, like an AI helping urban planners model different development scenarios.
Gotcha.
Sixth, enhancing engagement and interaction between citizens and government.
Making government feel more responsive.
Hopefully. Virtual assistants providing instant info, better communication tools. It could foster trust if people feel they can get reliable information quickly. Seventh, broader benefits for society. AI helping tackle big challenges like resource scarcity through optimization, managing complex government operations, ensuring equitable service delivery across regions.
Using AI for the public good we talked about?
Exactly. Eighth, tangible economic benefits. Reducing operational costs through automation, optimizing logistics, boosting productivity in public agencies.
Saving taxpayers' money, essentially.
That's often a key driver. And finally, number 9, sustainability benefits. AI helping manage natural resources better, optimizing energy grids, modeling environmental changes.
Okay, that is a seriously compelling list of potential upsides.
It really is. You can see the allure.
It sounds like that vision of smart government we sometimes hear about. Almost utopian in a way. But, and it's a big but, every powerful tool comes with that warning label, doesn't it?
Always.
And AI in government has some major challenges attached. This is where we really need to pause and think, because some of these hit right at the heart of public trust, accountability, democracy, even basic fairness.
You're absolutely right. The challenges are just as significant, maybe even more complex to solve than realizing the benefits.
Why more complex?
Because they dig into these deep, ethical, legal, societal issues that our traditional government structures just aren't really set up to handle easily yet.
Okay, so break down some of these challenges for us. Where do we start?
Let's start with the foundation. Data challenges. AI runs on data, right?
Right. Garbage in, garbage out.
Precisely. So first, just getting enough data. Is it available? How do you acquire it? How do you integrate it from all the different government silos?
Yeah, government data can be messy.
Very. And then there's the huge issue of data quality and representativeness. If your data is low quality, incomplete, or biased.
The AI outcomes will be biased too.
Exactly. Which can have terrible real-world impacts on people. Plus, the constant risk of data misuse, manipulation, especially with sensitive stuff like health or financial data.
And relying on external data sources can bring in bias too.
For sure. And there's often a lack of clear standards for how data is collected across different agencies, which makes everything harder.
Okay, so data is challenge number 1. What's next?
Organizational and managerial challenges. Inside government itself.
Like resistance to change.
That's a big part of it. Resistance to sharing data, turf wars, control issues. Plus, governments are struggling to create adequate AI governance. Clear roles, oversight.
The rules haven't caught up with the tech.
Often no. And AI challenges the whole traditional bureaucratic way of doing things. Hierarchies, human discretion, clear lines of responsibility. It shakes things up.
And managers might be risk averse.
Yeah, public managers often have a negative attitude towards risk, understandably perhaps, which can slow down adoption of new, unproven tech where liability isn't clear.
Makes sense. What else?
Huge skills challenges. There's a big gap in AI knowledge among current government employees.
Not enough data scientists in government.
Not nearly enough. Limited in-house talent, gaps in education for the technical skills needed. And AI experts are in high demand everywhere, so government struggles to compete for them.
So you can't just buy the tech, you need the people too.
Absolutely. Even just interpreting AI outputs needs new skills.
Which brings us to...
The critical interpretation challenges, the famous black box problem.
Ah, right. Where you don't know how the AI reached its decision.
Exactly. Complex AI models like deep neural networks can be incredibly opaque. Civil servants might not understand the reasoning.
Making it impossible to explain to citizens.
Yeah.
Or justify legally.
Precisely. Which can lead to wrong or unfair policy decisions going unchallenged. And this is where algorithmic bias really bites.
Bias baked into the system from the data.
Yeah, historical biases get learned and sometimes even amplified by the AI, leading to unfair outcomes in really important areas: loans, hiring, criminal justice, benefits.
That's incredibly serious.
It leads directly into the ethical and legitimacy challenges. Massive moral dilemmas. Unethical data use. AI discrimination, inequality, unfairness, bias against minorities.
Privacy is a big one too, I imagine.
Huge, especially with surveillance tech. And cybersecurity risks, imagine a breach of a government AI system full of citizen data.
Nightmare scenario.
And if citizens perceive AI as unfair or opaque, trust in government just plummets.
Right.
Plus, taking the human element out of key decisions raises huge questions about responsibility. Who is accountable when an AI messes up?
The programmer.
Yeah.
The agency. The AI itself.
Nobody knows yet, really. There are also worries about AI paternalism making decisions for citizens and reinforcing existing power imbalances.
Okay, this list is getting heavy. What about legal and political challenges?
Big ones there, too. AI could undermine fundamental values like due process, equal protection, transparency.
Is it the black box problem again?
Partly. Both legal black boxes like proprietary code governments can't even look at, and technical black boxes make accountability incredibly hard. Our legal systems just aren't equipped yet to determine AI responsibility.
And policymakers are struggling to keep up.
Definitely. They often lack the time or expertise to respond to the sheer speed and scale of AI's impact. The legislative process is slow. AI development is fast.
A dangerous mismatch.
Potentially, yes. Finally, there are the broader social and societal challenges.
Like jobs.
That's a major one. Job displacement, unemployment fears, especially for routine tasks, maybe even a dehumanization if we replace too much human interaction.
Could it worsen inequality?
Very possibly, yeah. Increasing income inequality is a real concern. And then there's just general social acceptance and trust. People might have unrealistic expectations or fears fueled by hype.
Wow, okay. That is a lot to consider. It really drives home that this isn't just a tech upgrade.
Not even close. It's a societal shift with deep implications.
Right. Okay, let's zoom in now. We've seen the big picture from Zuiderwijk et al. The opportunities, the risks. Now let's get down to the individual level with the An and Chen study.
Okay, shifting gears to the employees.
Yeah. They tackle that crucial question. What do the actual people working inside government agencies think about all this? Because their perceptions, their willingness to actually use AI, that seems absolutely vital for success.
It's make or break, honestly. You can have the best AI strategy in the world on paper.
But if the workforce isn't on board?
It's going nowhere. Their attitudes, their beliefs, their comfort level that will shape everything. How AI is planned, how it's rolled out, how it's regulated from the inside.
So positive perception smooths the path? Doubts create roadblocks.
Exactly. Misconceptions, resistance, they can stop even the most promising tech implementation in its tracks.
So how did An and Chen set this up? Did they also define AI?
They did, briefly. They acknowledged the complexity, mentioning things like autonomy, machine learning. They also touched on the difference between narrow AI for specific tasks, and that bigger idea of artificial general intelligence, AGI, human-like AI.
The sci-fi stuff almost.
Yeah, the more speculative future. But importantly, they also stressed that AI doesn't work alone. It needs that whole ecosystem.
Right, you mentioned that earlier. Big data, cloud.
Exactly. Big data, cloud computing, the Internet of Things, IoT for data gathering, fast 5G networks. They even reference a figure, Miller's AI landscape, showing how fast things are moving. Some AI is common now, other stuff like AI surgeons is still on the horizon.
Okay. And what were the key concerns they focused on with the employees?
They framed their survey around 4 main areas of concern that shape how people perceive AI.
What were they?
First, the boundary of AI. Basically, how much decision-making power should AI have in government?
Where do we draw the line?
Right. Is there a risk algorithms become seen as superior to human judgment? Could we lose human control over critical decisions? They mention experts predicting AI might outperform humans in many tasks by mid-century. Would we follow AI then?
A profound question.
Okay.
Second concern.
Ethical judgment. How does an AI decide what's good or bad? This is where they bring up that compass algorithm example again.
The one used in the justice system that showed bias.
That's the one. Biased against minorities, and it was a black box, no transparency. It perfectly highlights the need for accountability, making sure AI aligns with human values, and crucially, fixing historical biases in the data.
Got it. Third.
Job displacement. That very real personal anxiety.
The robots are taking our job sphere.
Exactly. The creative destruction idea. Even if new jobs are created elsewhere, people worry about their job being replaced. It's a huge concern for any workforce facing automation.
Understandable. And the last one.
National competitive, yes. The bigger picture context.
The AI race between countries.
Yeah. China, the US, Russia. Many nations see AI leadership as critical for government effectiveness, economic strength, global influence. This puts pressure on governments to adopt AI, maybe even faster than they're ready for.
So these four things, AI's boundaries, ethics, jobs, and the global race, are the backdrop for employee perceptions.
Precisely. These are the big anxieties and strategic drivers On and Chen wanted to measure among U.S. government workers.
Okay, so let's get to the results. With all those complex issues swirling around, what did these U.S. government employees actually say? How did they perceive AI? And crucially, what made them more or less willing to embrace it? Did they see it as a threat or an opportunity?
Right. The findings are really fascinating, a real mix of optimism and apprehension.
So not all doom and gloom.
Not at all. First, the overall perception was surprisingly positive. A big majority, 77%, agreed or strongly agreed that government should use AI to improve public service.
Okay, so there's a general openness to the idea.
Definitely. A recognition of the potential rather than just outright rejection.
And did they have specific benefits in mind?
They did. Most expected AI to boost efficiency, that was 55%, improve service quality or effectiveness, 21%. And this is key for employees, relieve them of mundane tasks, 19%.
Freeing them up for better work.
That seems to be the hope. They thought AI would be most useful for decision-making, problem-solving, 30%, automation, 27%, and pattern-matching cognition, 25%.
And did they see it impacting certain policy areas more than others?
Yeah, they pointed to science and energy, communications, transportation, health, and financial regulation as top areas for AI impact. Pretty consistent with the potential Zuiderwijk et al. Outlined.
Okay, so general optimism, clear ideas about benefits.
Yeah.
But you said there were mixed views.
Yes, here's where it gets more complex. When they were asked if AI felt more like a competitor or an assistant,
Which way did they lean?
a majority, 55%, saw AI as a competitor to human workers. Only 32% saw it mainly as an assistant.
Wow, that's a significant finding. Reveals some real anxiety about their place alongside AI.
It does. And related to that, on job displacement, they were quite split. About 40% were concerned or undecided, but 52% actually thought AI would create new jobs.
So anxiety, but also some optimism about adaptation.
Seems like it. A real mix of feelings there.
What about the ethical side?
Concerns there, too. Over half, 55%, were at least mildly concerned about AI taking away their discretionary authority, their ability to use their own judgment.
Which is often a core part of public service roles.
Exactly. And they definitely had misgivings about AI reinforcing biases against minorities, echoing those past concerns.
But you said earlier their overall view on AI ethics was more positive.
Yeah, this is interesting. Despite worries about bias and discretion, employees generally had a more positive outlook on AI's overall ability to make sound ethical judgments and its potential impact on democracy.
How does that square?
It's a bit puzzling. Maybe they distinguish between current flawed AI and the potential for future better AI. But there was also a large group who were neutral on these ethical questions, suggesting a lot of uncertainty still.
Okay, so still evolving views on the ethics. Now, you mentioned something about experience being key.
Yes, this was a really powerful finding. A surprisingly large number of these employees said they'd already used some form of AI in their work.
Really? What kind of things?
The study doesn't detail exactly what, but it could be anything from data analysis tools to automated reporting, maybe even chatbots. The key point is that past experience had a strong positive influence on their willingness to support more AI implementation.
So familiarity breeds acceptance.
It certainly seems to breed willingness, yeah, which really poses that important question for government leaders. If hands-on experience builds trust, how do we provide that experience more widely?
Right. Pilot projects, training.
Exactly. Demystifying it through use seems way more effective than just talking about it.
So what else increased their willingness to support AI?
Believing it would boost government effectiveness and efficiency, having a positive view of its impact on democracy. Also, just a general belief that AI will ultimately benefit humanity and might even surpass human intelligence.
Okay, so belief in the positive potential and what decreased willingness.
The big one was perceiving AI as a competitor. That really dampened support.
That competitor versus assistant framing seems absolutely crucial then.
It really does. It taps into fundamental anxieties about job security and status.
Okay, this is all making sense, but now, tell me about this transparency finding, because that sounds really counterintuitive.
Yes. The transparency paradox.
You said the study found that employees who perceived AI as improving transparency we're actually less willing to adopt it.
That's right. It's a striking finding.
But transparency is supposed to be a cornerstone of good government. Why would that reduce support for a technology? It feels like it hints at some kind of resistance to openness.
It does feel counterintuitive, doesn't it? And it really suggests some deeper, maybe more subconscious organizational dynamics at play within bureaucracies.
So why might that be? What are the possible explanations?
Well, the study doesn't give a definitive why, but we can speculate based on how organizations work. One idea is that transparency might not just mean openness to the public for an employee.
What else could it mean?
It could also mean increased visibility inside the organization, exposing internal processes, maybe inefficiencies, maybe individual decisions, to more scrutiny from bosses, other departments, auditors.
So it could feel like being watched more closely. A loss of control.
Potentially, yeah. A loss of autonomy over their immediate work, or maybe losing control of the narrative about how well their unit is performing.
Okay, that's one angle. What else?
It could also tie into fear of accountability. If an AI system makes decisions very transparently and something goes wrong.
It's easier to see who was involved or who signed off on it.
Exactly. Increased transparency might make it easier to assign blame, even if the error wasn't malicious. So there might be a reluctance to adopt systems that feel like they put you under a brighter, potentially critical spotlight.
The sort of keep your head down mentality.
It could tap into that, yeah. Especially if the potential benefits of the AI aren't yet fully clear or trusted by the employees themselves.
Could it also be about external interference?
That's another possibility. More transparency might empower external groups, citizens, media, advocates, politicians to challenge decisions more often, demand more explanations, maybe try to micromanage.
Leading to more work or conflict for the employees?
Right. For someone already feeling overworked, the idea of inviting more scrutiny or administrative burden, even in the name of transparency, might not be appealing. So while transparency is a clear public good for the individual inside the system, it might ironically feel like an added risk or hassle.
That's a really critical insight for leaders pushing digital transformation. You can't just assume everyone welcomes transparency in the same way.
Absolutely not. You need to understand and address those underlying fears through good change management, clear communication about what transparency actually means in practice for their roles.
Fascinating. Did the study mention any other factors influencing willingness?
Just a couple of others showed statistical significance, though the why wasn't explored deeply. State government employees seemed slightly more willing than federal ones.
Wonder why that is.
Hard to say from this study. Also, political party mattered a bit. Democrats seemed slightly less willing in this survey, and middle managers showed less willingness in one type of analysis.
Interesting little wrinkles. Suggests context really matters.
It definitely underscores the complexity. It's not just about the technology itself, but who the employees are, where they sit in the organization, and maybe even their political leanings.
That transparency point is really profound, though. Definitely something for government leaders to chew on. Okay, so we've covered a lot. We've seen the big picture landscape from Zuiderwijk et al. And the nuanced, sometimes surprising personal views from An and Chen. Both papers seem to be pointing towards, what needs to happen next, both for researchers and for people actually implementing this stuff.
Yes, they both offer clear paths forward.
The Zuiderwijk et al. Paper specifically lays out a pretty detailed research agenda, right?
Extremely detailed. It's basically a roadmap for academics wanting to fill those knowledge gaps we talked about earlier. They break it down really well.
How so?
Into two parts. Process recommendations, how research should be done, and content recommendations, what should be researched.
Okay, give us the highlights on the process side. How should researchers approach this?
Okay, process-wise, they say, first, get beyond the buzzwords. Do real AI research and governance. Don't just relabel old digital government stuff as AI.
Be rigorous.
Exactly. Second, be specific. Move from generic AI studies to research focused on specific domains, specific countries, specific levels of government. Allows for better comparison and practical insights.
Makes sense.
Third, use diverse methods. Don't just rely on qualitative studies. Bring in more quantitative, data-driven, computational approaches. Mix methods.
Get more empirical evidence.
Right. Fourth, develop public sector-specific frameworks. Don't just borrow business models. Public value needs its own theories. Fifth, move to empirical and explanatory work. Go beyond just exploring. Test hypotheses. Explain why things happen when AI is implemented.
Understand cause and effect.
Sixth, promote open data. Share research data openly to boost transparency, allow verification, build knowledge faster.
Good practice.
And seventh, learn from history. Look at the lessons from early e-government research, avoid the pitfalls, build on what we already know about tech adoption in government.
Okay, that's a solid list for how to do the research. What about what to research? The content recommendations.
Right, the content areas they highlight are crucial too. First, build strong theoretical foundations. We need solid, multidisciplinary theories for AI and public governance, given how under-theorized it is now.
Okay.
Second, investigate effective implementation. Look at practical plans, realistic metrics for AI strategies. And this raises that key question. How do you plan for tech that changes so fast? Maybe shorter, more flexible strategies? Need research on that.
Good point. The pace is nuts.
Third, define risk management best practices. How do governments actually manage risks like data misuse, bias, big focus needed on ethics, fairness, explainability, XAI, transparency, accountability, privacy, security, societal impact?
The whole ethical minefield.
Exactly. Fourth, examine engagement and communication. How can governments better talk with stakeholders, citizens, companies about AI plans, addressing their concerns?
Dialogue, not just top-down announcements.
Right. Fifth, explore diverse governance modes. Don't just rely on voluntary standards.
Right.
What about regulation, new oversight bodies? Consider power dynamics, too.
Need more tools in the governance toolbox.
Sixth, develop ways to measure performance and impact. How do we know if AI is actually working, not just technically, but in terms of societal outcomes, positive and negative?
Measuring what matters.
And finally, seventh, study the implications of scaling up. What happens when AI isn't just pilots, but widespread? How do governments manage that velocity and scale of AI impact that outpaces traditional policy cycles? Maybe agile governance.
Wow. That is a comprehensive research agenda. Plenty for academics to work on for years.
Decades, probably.
Okay, but turning back to the here and now, for those listening who actually work in government or want to, what does the An and Chen study tell us about making this digital transformation work today? What are the practical takeaways for leaders?
Yeah, the An and Chen study really brings it down to actionable insights, focusing heavily on that crucial human element, the employees.
It's about the people, not just the tech.
Absolutely. It's a powerful reminder. Their key implications are pretty clear. First, prioritize education and training. Massively important.
More than just how to use the software.
Much more. It's about improving their basic understanding of what AI is, how it works, its potential uses, and the ethical pitfalls. Remember how experience boosted support? Training needs to include hands-on learning, workshops, demos. Demystify it.
Build confidence through familiarity.
Exactly. Second, governments need to actively provide opportunities and the necessary AI tools for employees to actually use.
So give them the chance to try it out.
Yes. Let them experiment, integrate AI into their workflows where appropriate, build their skills and comfort levels gradually. Give them the tools, maybe analytic software, automation tools, data visualization platforms. Make it real for them.
Okay, train them and equip them.
Yeah.
What else?
Third, and this might be the most important given the findings on transparency and the competitor perception, leaders must foster a culture of innovation that is genuinely collaborative and partnership-oriented.
Not just top-down orders.
Definitely not. The study implies that pushing AI from the top without buy-in won't work. You need that bottom-up engagement, a sense of co-ownership from employees.
Make them active participants, not just passive recipients.
Precisely. That buy-in is essential for sustainable transformation. You have to address their concerns, meet their needs for training, involve them in the process. Otherwise, even the fanciest AI project could easily fail.
So connecting it all together.
If you connect An and Chen's findings to the broader landscape Zuiderwijk et al. Mapped out, it becomes crystal clear. Successfully integrating AI isn't just a technical challenge.
Right.
It's profoundly a people challenge, a governance challenge, a cultural challenge. It forces us to rethink the very nature of public service in the 21st century. It demands a holistic approach. Tech, policy, ethics, and people all considered together.
Wow. Okay, what a deep dive that was into integrating AI in government. We've really covered a lot of ground today.
We certainly have.
From that big systematic review by Zuiderwijk et al., mapping the whole landscape, down to the nitty-gritty of employee perceptions from An and Chen. We've seen that incredible promise of efficiency, better services, smarter decisions, but we've also really grappled with those daunting challenges.
Data issues, organizational hurdles, skills gaps.
A black box problem, huge ethical questions,
Yeah.
legal uncertainties, job fears.
It's a long list.
And we learned the public sector context is just unique. that focus on public value, the need for transparency, balancing all those stakeholders.
Constraints that the private sector doesn't face in the same way.
And crucially, those employee perceptions, their fears of AI as a competitor, their worries about bias, but also their underlying hope and how much direct experience matters. That seems key.
Absolutely vital for making this work.
Okay, so here's a final provocative thought for you, our listeners, to chew on as you go.
All right.
If we know that government employees' trust and willingness to adopt AI really goes up with their personal hands-on experience, and if we saw that surprising finding that perceiving AI as a threat to transparency actually reduces support,
Yeah.
then how should governments think about strategically introducing AI, both to their own workforce and to the public? How do you foster innovation and get people comfortable while also ensuring you maintain or even build that crucial public trust? How do you navigate that really tricky balance between familiarity and openness, especially if openness itself causes some resistance?
That really brings us to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? It raises that fundamental question: can governments truly unlock AI's potential if they don't fundamentally rethink things? Not just the tech infrastructure, not just the rules, but also their deep-seated organizational culture, their actual commitment to genuinely transparent, genuinely ethical, truly human-centered governance. The answers we find to those questions, well, they're going to shape the public sector for decades. They'll define what a smart government really means in this coming age of AI.
A lot to think about. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into integrating AI and governance. Thanks so much for joining our study group.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.